Hello and welcome back. In this video, we're going to add pagination to our application views. So over here, look at this page, for example. We have listing all articles. And this basically displays all the articles that are in our application. And you can scroll down, and as you can tell, this page can get really big. And to grab all the articles from the database, we're using code like this, article.all. And we're basically storing that in this instance variable add articles. So imagine how big this add articles instance variable can get. So pagination is going to solve a couple of those problems. First of all, it's not going to pick up that many articles in our instance variable. It's going to break it up, and it's going to break it up per the page that it displays. So we're going to have a listing of pages depending on how many articles we have, and then you can scroll through the listing. And then as you click on page 2 or 3 or 4, it'll pick up the articles for that page in our database, okay? So it's basically going to organize all the articles nicely for our views. So let's go ahead and implement that. We'll start with listing all articles. So I have my articles controller here, and we're going to work on this first. But we need to install the pagination gems to our application first. So I'll shut down the server, and then I will scroll down to my gem file, and then over here I will add the 2 gems that are necessary. I'm going to install gem will_paginate, comma, and then within quotes I'll give it a gem version 3.0.7, and then I'll install the gem bootstrap dash will_paginate, close quote, and then I'll give it the gem version of 0.0.10. Save that. Now let's go ahead and install these 2 gems. Over here, I'll say bundle install without production. Okay, so it installed the gems for us. Now let's go back to our articles controller. Per the gems documentation, this is the code that we need to provide. So we have at articles equal article, instead of .all, we're going to say paginate, and then within parentheses page colon space params open square bracket colon page close square bracket close parentheses. Okay? Now this will load the default number of items per page, which I believe is either 20 or 30. I'm not 100% sure. But you can also specify how many items you want yourself. So you can just put a comma after this close square bracket for page, comma, you can say per_page colon, and then list the number of items you want. So I'll just put 5 and then close parentheses. Save that. And then for this to display in the views, you have to pull up the view file. So since we're working with the index for articles, I'll go to app, views, articles, and then index.html erb. Over here, we're simply rendering the partial and giving it at articles instance variable. Now this code is still fine, but what we're going to do here is add a display for the pagination. So I'll do div align equals center embedded Ruby equals will_paginate, and then close embedded Ruby. Then I'll close the div tag, and then it's going to do what it was doing before, display the articles, but it's only going to display 5 since that's the parameters that we provided. And at the end of it, I'll give the will paginate display as well. So I'll simply copy this, Command C, Command V, save that. Let's take a look at what that did. So I'll start my server, rails s -b 0.0.0.0. and then preview. I'll close the earlier preview I had. And I'll go to articles. Okay, so there is the pagination display right there. And since I provided per page 5, there should be 5 articles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. So since I have more than 5 articles in my test database, I can go to the next page. Those are the last few articles. Perfect. Now you can click around. You can add more articles to ensure that it works the way that you want. Okay? The next thing we're going to do is add this to our users page. So if you go to users, right now it displays all of our users. And we want to do the same thing here. We only want to display 5 users per page. Okay? So let's add that. Same thing we did for our articles controller. Very similar to this. We're going to do this for our users controller. Instead of doing user.all, we're going to do user.paginate page colon params open square bracket colon page close square bracket, and then per underscore page colon 5 close parentheses. Save that. And then we have to add this to our index view for users. So I'll go to users, views, users, index HTML ERB and pull this up. Now over here, we'll add the display right under this div align center. Okay, so I'll go to my index for articles and I'll copy just this line, will paginate. I don't need this div align center because in my index view for users, I already have this div align center and this entire block is within that div. So I will simply paste that here, save that, and at the bottom after the end, I'll paste that again, save that. Now let's see what that did. Over here, I'll reload the page. Perfect, there's the pagination. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, perfect. Next page, just 1 user in the next page because I have 6 users total. Perfect. Click on next, previous, everything seems to be working. All right, now the next thing I want to add this to is, if you notice, if I go to a user show page, it displays all of the articles that the user has. This list could get pretty big. So over here, we're going to add that as well. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll go back to my users controller and the user show page right here. This is my show action at user equals user.find params ID. But notice for the show page, we're simply grabbing the at user instance variable. We're grabbing the individual user and then we go to the show HTML ERB view. At the end here, we basically use the article partial to iterate through each article of the user. So by using this code at user.articles. So if we use pagination here the way we have been, simply typing in will paginate will not work, because will paginate, if you just put it the way it is, it will paginate at user. And at user is simply one user, and that will not work. So we're going to have to add some code to our show action. So I'll go back to my users controller and I have to provide an instance variable of all the users articles. So I'll create an instance variable user underscore articles. And basically I'll grab all of the users articles by using pagination. So at user dot articles dot paginate open parentheses page colon params open square bracket colon page, which is standard pagination syntax, close square bracket, and I'll say per underscore page colon 5. Okay, so now back to my show view. Right here, I'll do this. I'll create a div class equals center. And then embedded Ruby equals will underscore paginate at user underscore articles, which is the instance variable I just created in my users controller show action. Now that I have this one available to use, I can use this in my view as well. So will paginate at user articles, close embedded Ruby, then close the div tag, and over here, where I'm rendering the partial article, object I'm giving is at user.articles. For pagination to work, this is going to have to be at user underscore articles, which I just created. And then I will simply copy this, Command C, Command V, save that, and that should take care of pagination for the user show page. Let's test it out. Over here, I'll reload. Since I only have 2 articles, the pagination views won't show up. So I'm going to pause this video right now and create 4 more articles. So if you're following along, I would suggest you pause this video as well and create 4 or 5 more articles for the user that you're displaying, and I'll see you as soon as you're done. Okay, welcome back. So I'll show you how I created the test articles. I basically opened a new terminal. I grabbed the user whose page I was displaying over here by his ID, and then I used this line, article equals user.articles.build, and I gave title, description, and then after you hit enter on that, you hit article.save to save the article, and I essentially did that 4 times with different titles and descriptions. Okay, so now I should have enough articles for this user to display or to bring up the display of the pagination views. So I'm going to reload the page. There it is. There's the pagination display. 5 articles in the first page. If I click 2, there's the last one, which I just created. So pagination for my users show page with their listing is also working. So now all of my listing views has pagination added, which is exactly what I was looking for. Perfect. So back here, I'm going to exit out of the console and I'll shut down my server. Now I'm going to commit my code. So git add-a, git commit-m, add pagination to views, close quote, hit enter. Now git push to push our code to our repository. So that's all I wanted to cover in this video. In the next video, we'll start with logging in users. I'll see you there.